Okay, I found a line. For a moment, I thought that we couldn't win, but I found a line. And it is beautiful. It is brilliant. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your dredge guy, and today I have something slightly different from my last dredge builds here featured on this channel. Today I will test for the very first time. I have 0 repetition with this deck. I will test a single life from the Loam as my dredge card number 12. We have 3 Golgari Thugs, 4 Stink Imps, 4 Golgari Grief Trolls, and a single life from the Loam. Why I'm doing that? Actually, my main idea here is not to test life from the Loam. I want to test the Reverent Silence as a sideboard card. This card, let me put here to better show you. This card was the way to go for Reanimator decks some years ago to fight Line of the Void decks. So if you play Legacy for a long time, maybe some years, if you have been playing Legacy, you must remember that some years ago Reanimator decks had a slight splash to green, so they can have some forests and then play Reverent Silence on turn 1 and immediately going off with their own game plan. The idea of having a free spell like Reverent Silence is to, well, if we have a forest and have Reverent Silence in our starting hand against the Line of the Void deck, we can go off on turn 1. We have Lion's Eye Diamond, we have many other enablers, so we don't need to waste a turn casting something like Chain of Vapor or other bounce spell. We can just destroy my opponent's lines immediately and not wasting a single turn after that. So this is the idea. Of course, this will put us in an extremely greedy situation because I will start testing with only 4 fetch lands here and a single tropical island. So this is probably not the best configuration to test Reverent Silence, but since this is a test, I will try to do the greediest thing possible. So I have 3 Reverent Silence post board to include after sideboarding, and I have a single tropical island and more for fetch lands. Let's see how the deck will perform with these small changes. The rest is something similar to our last deck previewed here, featured here on this channel, and a single life from the Loam. The thing is, having a different dredger like a life from the Loam can be interesting, I think, in situations where you can cast a dredger from your hand, like you can cast Golgari Thug, for example, but it will be immediately put into your graveyard. We cannot do the same with other dredgers, but life from the Loam can be just casted, can be cast from your hand, and then you have a dredger in your graveyard. If you find yourself in an awkward situation without dredgers, without enablers, well, so this is just a test. Of course, maybe we can achieve something amazing here, like casting life from the Loam to chain Cephalic Coliseums and win the game, because Cephalic Coliseum is a land and one of our best enablers in this deck. So maybe there is something here, but I will try to test this, just doing a slight different version from my previous deck here. So yeah, that's it. Let's see how this deck will perform. Do you think this is a crazy idea? I like crazy ideas a lot. I had this idea just answering a message on social media. So if you want to send me your amazing or the craziest idea that you have, please, you can just write here on the comments below, and I will test it because I like to test new ideas. Sometimes the best ideas are the craziest, right? So let's try this deck right now in the Legacy League, and I hope you enjoyed this. Click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment if you're enjoying those testings that I'm doing here on this channel. I think this is the best way to evolve our best archetype in Legacy. Let's see how this deck will perform. Let's go right now. And guess what? Now I'm a Mana Traders Ambassador, and you can subscribe to them with the 10% off on your first 2 months. Just add the coupon code at checkout. It's just the best way to play and test a variety of decks in every MTG format you can think of. Now, back to the games. Alright, we are on the play against Gabri 091. Well, this hand is a keep. Not the best keep, but it is a keep. We have 3 enablers that we can cast, and maybe soon we can cast Faithless Looting. We still don't have a Dredger, but I think this is a keep. It's debatable because this is not the best hand, but I remember playing against this opponent in the past, and I think they play with tempo decks. So having 3 castable enablers here is really good. So let's start with LED to test my opponent's hand. If they have some Force of Will or Force of Negation, this is a juicy target. Okay, my opponent has Force of Will. They are just choosing what to exile, what to pitch to force. Okay, Brainstorm. Brainstorm was pitched. So let's place Cephalic Coliseum and cast Careful Study. Okay, it resolves and we have our dredges. Unfortunately, not a second land, but maybe this is enough to win. My opponent kept 7 cards. Let's see what they have. I hope for no wastelands here. Oh, they have a wasteland. Okay. Okay, so they have a... Oh, they will not use it. So this is... Okay, we have an Amoeba here after dredging. This probably means that my opponent is playing Rescaminator. So let's resolve this Careful Study. Dredge 4. Oh, not other dredges. That's really unfortunate. I will discard Poxwalkers. We have 3 Cabal Therapies. So Poxwalkers and one of these Cabal Therapy will target me. So yeah, Poxwalkers and Thug. As I was saying, let's Cabal Therapy here, my opponent. My opponent should probably keep this Wasteland to cycle a Troll because they need other land. But now we can just win the game. Yeah. We won. My opponent chose to not reveal any more cards. Because with 2 Poxwalkers, 1 Bridge, and 3 Cabal Therapies, we will end this turn with a great board presence. As Dredge needs to be, right? We as Dredge players need to establish dominance as soon as possible. So if my opponent chose to not reveal any more cards, this is a turn 2 win. That's great. We didn't saw any cards, but I do think that my opponent is playing a Rescaminator or a blue-black scam deck. So the Line of the Void is something that I like to include on the draw, just because sometimes my opponent will have a quick reanimation plan with Atrax or Archon. And let's take the Satoru plan, keeping Thassa's Oracle, and let's keep our life from the Loam. I was thinking here, this is my first time playing this deck, right? So for a moment I thought here that maybe we could take one of our Dredgers, but probably a Breakthrough instead. I don't know if my opponent plays with a Surgical Extraction, for example. Breakthrough against a Surgical Extraction plus Wasteland plus Force and Daze is not the greatest card after sideboarding. Okay, now we are on the draw. This hand is quite good. I would like to have Dredgers here, but we have 2 good enablers and we have a basic land. So my opponent, and I line of course, and my opponent had a Flooded Strand and Delver of Secrets. Okay, so this is a clock. Let's find something. LED is a great draw. So let's play around Daze. Let's see if my opponent wants to counter this Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, they do. Again, pitching Brainstorm. So luckily we will resolve this Careful Study. Okay, we found a 3rd land. That's good. But no Dredgers yet. We'll find them, I hope. So this Delver doesn't flip. Good Delver. Good Delver. Keep doing that. We need time. We need time to hit our Dredgers and win this game. My opponent's graveyard is already something that we don't need to worry about. So Delver attacks. We are on 19 life. A Wasteland. Okay, so we have a basic island. We draw another Coliseum. Okay. I think I will not play around anything here because I don't think my opponent have... Okay, Orcish Bowmasters was expected, but I don't think my opponent has other counter spells. And I'm doing that because I'm... Okay, just a Dredge Return and Thassa's Oracle, unfortunately. I don't know what I will draw with this Careful Study. So now I know that... Well, it will probably... It probably doesn't matter too much. These Orcish Bowmasters will get some counters. We'll put some counters on the Orc Army token. I'll play Volcanic Island and pass a turn here, because I don't care too much if my opponent wasteland me now, but I want to preserve my Cephalic Coliseum. This time Delver flips. The clock is ticking. We need something good right now. And my opponent now has a Force of Will, so another 2 cards in their hand. A Ponder. Let's see if this Ponder shuffles. It doesn't shuffle, so this is bad news for the Dredge guys. I can play Cephalic Coliseum, I can crack it to play around Force, but this will get a bigger Orc Army token. I don't think we can come back from these guys. That's unfortunate. Maybe I could cast Breakthrough for X equals to 1, hoping for Faithless Looting, Dredger, LED, but my opponent has a Force of Will with probably other cards to pitch. My opponent did nothing else, so yeah, we cannot win every single time. This was a good hand, but we couldn't find our Dredgers on time. Let's see, just a Poxwalkers on. So now we are on the play. I don't want Line of the Void anymore, so let's re-include one Satoru, one Dredge return. Now I will have one eco read instead of my second Satoru, and breakthrough back. And I think that's it. Being on the play is better. And I think we don't need to be too defensive being on the play. Yes, I would like to play first. This is acceptable. We don't have basic lands. We have our best dredger. We have two Poxwalkers. My opponent is already on their first mulligan to 6. Okay, so let's hope to resolve at least this careful study. Yeah, and we found our other land. So we discard one Poxwalkers and our best dredger. And pass the turn. Next turn, according to what we see, we can choose if we want to play Scalding Tarn for a basic land or not. Okay, my opponent plays Polluted Delta, cracks it for an Underground Sea, and Ponder. Ponder is good. Ponder is a good sign. No clock, no entombs. My opponent shuffles their library. And now it's our turn. Let's dredge 6. 2 Narcomoebas are great, and no Surgical Extraction from my opponent. So now what? I think I will crack Scalding Tarn for do I need to take a basic here? Probably not. Yeah, let's take our Underground Sea. And I don't think I will play this breakthrough around days, because my opponent had a shuffle. And if they have a daze, it's not so bad for us, because this means that we will have an extra turn without Doughty Voidwalker. My opponent had a Force of Negation with a blue peach. Okay, so this wasn't meant to be. So my opponent plays Polluted Delta, and now we need to dodge Doughty Voidwalker. Oh, they will reanimate our only dredger. Alright, so this game will slow down a little bit. Buckle up, folks. Let's go. Let's cast Poxwalkers from our hand, because we don't have dredgers and we don't have enablers, but we have creatures. And even our opponent has a creature that is ours. So next turn I can attack with Poxwalkers. Let's see if my opponent has something now. I didn't attack with Narcomoebas because my opponent has a 1/2 blocker, right? If we reveal a Breach from Below at some point. Oh, this is what I was talking about at the intro of this video. So now we have a dredger that we can cast from our hand, and it will be put into our graveyard. This is exactly the situation that I was previewing that could happen. So we attack with Poxwalkers. My opponent probably don't have blockers unless they have Orcish Bowmasters. No, that's good. What my opponent had as a keep. This is really weird. So let's target 2. This is so exciting, casting a Life from the Loam for the first time. This is my first time playing with this card. So Life from the Loam will get 2 lands back and to our hand, unless my opponent can counter this. And this is being cast around days. So let's take another land from our deck. Now we have a dredger. We don't need to take basics anymore. I can even cast this Narcomoeba from my hand. Let's see if my opponent has a daze after all. No? Alright. Oh, they do have an Orcish Bowmasters, maybe? This was weird. Blue, black. Yeah, they do have Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, so they could kill my Poxwalkers, but they decided to wait after combat in case I had a careful study or something like that. So Life from the Loam, a good card confirmed against Orcish Bowmasters. So my opponent has a Wasteland now. They can Wasteland my Tropical Island, so I never Loam again. But they probably value their mana right now. A Powder Keg, alright. But so far we don't have any bridges, any zombies. Let's dredge 3. First time I say that. Let's dredge 3. Not 4, not 5, not 6. Okay, we have Golgari Trolls. Oh guys, we can even cast Golgari Troll from our hand. Ah. It will be only for 4, 3, 3. It will not be large, but maybe it is another creature. Do I do this right now? Yeah, why not? Let's cast Golgari Troll. Oh yeah, it's a 4/4 because I have an Narcomoeba, that's right. I didn't notice my Narcomoeba there. So let's attack with Poxwalkers. Do my opponent want to block? Yes, they do. This attack is debatable here because, of course, my opponent had a blocker, but I kind of like it because we already have another threat, and I prefer to attack with my zombies while I can. Because when I reveal a Breach from Below, it will be harder to attack into a token like I did last turn. And with that much mana, as soon as possible we'll find a Faithless Looting and Otherworldly Gaze, and those Poxwalkers can come back. Now my opponent my opponent chose to let Powder Kegs counters on 0. 0 counters. So my opponent is playing wisely, playing around Breach from Below. But not many players will notice that this build has only 2 bridges. Traditionally, Legacy Dredge will play with 4 bridge from below, right? So having an answer to your opponent's zombie army is wise. But maybe in this situation, my opponent should put a counter on Powder Keg. I'm not sure. I don't know their hand. Oh, they will reanimate my Poxwalkers, alright. So my opponent has 3 creatures. 2 of them are ours. So let's dredge 6 here. We can even cast another Golgari Grief Troll if we want to. I'm sorry. But I don't think we need it. We don't know what my opponent has in hand, so let's just start by casting this Faithless Looting and see if those Poxwalkers will come back. Because if my opponent counters or have some like Surgical Extractions, they don't. But we could just cast Otherworldly Gaze and have both Poxwalkers coming back on instant speed. So now I'll discard both Grave Trolls. Now we have a single bridge. We have Dread Return, no Satoru yet. I have Cabal Therapy. Let's attack here. Let's put some pressure on my opponent. I don't care that much about my bridge from below, so if they want to exile my bridge, I don't care. Oh, my opponent did something not too good for them here. Because, yeah, their Poxwalkers will die, but this will give me an extra zombie and will not exile my bridges. Bridge from below only looks for which graveyard the creature is going after dying, not who was controlling the creature. So we have an extra zombie, my bridge is still there. We have both Poxwalkers. I can even cast my second Faithless Looting, but let's see if my opponent has Daze first. Let's order those triggers to resolve bridge first, and let's name Daze. Okay, they have a Force of Will, they have a Grief, but they don't have Pitch for both cards. So now we'll just win the game, right? We already have only 19 cards in our graveyard, so in our deck, sorry. So this will dredge 12. Yeah, there is Satoru, another bridge, Dread Return. Yeah, we won the game. Narcomoeba can enter the battlefield, and yeah, this Powder Keg will not do anything against us because we don't need our zombies to win anymore. So let's sacrifice 3 Poxwalkers, they will come back. And we'll end this turn with an overkill. We have many zombies, 3 Poxwalkers, 2 Narcomoebas, will have 2 Dread Returns. My opponent cannot do anything. So Satoru enters the battlefield. We just need to find Thassa's Oracle. Let's dredge 6. There she is. So we can reanimate the Oracle, sacrificing Satoru in her honor. Pay attention with that interaction if you're playing Satoru Dredge, because sometimes, like in this spot, you have an extra Poxwalkers coming back, and you can kill yourself if you don't order your triggers properly, or if you have too many triggers. So when in doubt, just sacrifice Satoru and that's okay. We won our first match this afternoon, and let's go to our second match. If you enjoy my content, I will encourage you to go check my Patreon. This way you can help me as a content creator, but also have access to all my articles, sideboard guides, new videos, and also everything that I discover about Dredge. When I build a new deck like this one, you'll have access first. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Now, back to the games. Okay, this time we are on the draw against Galatriste. And we already have our first mulligan. I will keep this here because we only need a single land to put this hand over the top. I would not keep this on the play, but on the draw, it is risky. But if my opponent are not playing counterspell deck, this can be a turn 1 win with a single LED, because we already have 2 dredgers. And against a tempo deck, it would be more difficult, but maybe we can draw a land. I will keep this. Okay, under City Silvers, this probably means that this is already a Rescaminator deck or a Scam deck again. So is this a rematch? This time we need a land. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Better lucky than good, right? All right. So now LED resolves, and let's go for a turn 1. Let's resolve this breakthrough, hopefully, discarding our hand in response with 3 red mana. Let's see if my opponent can. Oh, they do have a Daze. I will pay for it. I will pay for it. Unfortunately, we cannot Faithless Looting anymore. Oh, it is resolving. All right. So Dredge 6, Dredge 4, and nothing else, unfortunately. Let's discard everything. We have an Narcomoeba, we have 1 Poxwalkers, 1 Bridge, 2 Cabal Therapies. You know what? Maybe we have a turn 1 win even after this not so good breakthrough. So let's see my opponent's hand here. Cabal Therapy is resolving. I'll name Reanimate. Not Reanimate, but they have Arkish Bowmasters. Their hand is awful, so let's take those Bowmasters from their hand. Arkish Bowmasters. Yeah. And I can put Satoru in the battlefield. To win the game here, we need to be lucky because we don't have other enablers. We don't have any more therapies. So Dredge 6. Okay, we have Dredge Return, but we will not use it, right? We don't need to be so aggressive here just to have a couple more zombies. Yeah, we don't have nothing good to reanimate. And my opponent has only a Daze and 3 lands, so this is probably a win from here. Now it's my opponent's turn. They replay Undercity Sewers, so they are looking for something, and it's our turn again. Well, they found an Archon of Cruelty. Can we win this turn? Dredge 6. Yeah, Narcomoeba will trigger Satoru, and we will Dredge 5. Yeah, we have Cabal Therapy, Poxwalkers. We probably have the win from here, but let's attack first, right? Just to be sure. We are dealing 7 damage to our opponent. We can clean a little bit of this. And now I will... Do I cast Cabal Therapy first? Probably, right? Yeah, and we don't have a Thassa's Oracle yet. Of course, I cast Cabal Therapy first. So Dredge 5 and Dredge 5 again. Thassa's Oracle is there. We have another Breach. Okay, I think we have the win here. So we name Daze. It's what we know about. Yeah, and all the 3 lands. Okay, this is not a guaranteed win. We need to hit... I'll try to win here because we already have so many creatures. So I'll cast Dredge Return targeting Thassa's Oracle, sacrificing both Poxwalkers and a zombie token. We just need Devotion 4, and we need to dredge at least 10 cards. So we need to find Golgar Grave Troll here, or maybe a Narcomoeba and a Stinkweed Imp. Alright. Alright, we found what we needed. Oh, of course, and Thassa's Oracle triggers Satoru again, so I can even dredge again if I want to, but I don't need to. Let's... Oh yeah, and both Narcomoebas and the Poxwalkers were the last 3 cards. You know, we won this game, and this is a proof that we need to have a little bit more than 4 Narcomoebas to win the game playing Legacy Dredge. That's why Poxwalkers is so good, because sometimes your Narcomoebas are hiding somewhere. They are illusions, they can hide themselves pretty good. And Poxwalkers are our Narcomoebas 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7 in this case. So we have 7 recursible creatures and an Ichorid in our sideboard. I kind of want to test Ichorid in the main deck soon. Maybe we can keep only a single Satoru in the future, I'm not sure. So after sideboarding, let's do the same, right? We just include 4 Leyline of the Void. We can take both Satorus, because my opponent can reanimate our Satoru, and this is one of the worst feelings that we may have, to see our own Satoru beating us and winning the game for our opponent. Okay, now we are on the draw. We have Leyline of the Void, and we have a Leyline in our starting hand, but this hand is more than unkeepable with 3 Narcomoebas and no lands. Okay, this is not that great. Okay, this is our best hand so far, by far. And let's put Bridge and Thriftless Looting on the bottom, and we start the game with Leyline. This is better than our last match. We found a hand with Leyline and a basic land, so we are Wasteland proof, and we have Enabler and Dredger in our hand. So let's hope for no grief and no discard spell, because our starting hand is quite good. My opponent kept 7 cards, so maybe they have a quick... Okay, Ponder. Let's hope for no Doughty Voidwalker. After sideboarding in this matchup, and you need to pay attention on that. If your opponent plays Doughty Voidwalker coming from the sideboard, I'm not sure if that's the case. On our last round, it wasn't. My opponent maybe had a Doughty, but they never found it. But you really need to play fast after sideboarding. If you want to race a Doughty Voidwalker, you need to go for a turn 1 or a good defensive hand like this one with Leyline, Enablers, and a Dredger. My opponent didn't shuffle their Ponder, and now we will draw live from the Loam. Okay, it's a Dredger. Let's see if our Careful Study will resolve. We play an island and cast it. Okay, it resolves, so we found all the Dredgers and a second land. Okay, that's good, because even if our opponent has a Reanimate, they can reanimate our Thug or Grave Troll, but they cannot reanimate both, probably. And if they do, we have another Dredger in our hand. Oh no, they have a Doughty Voidwalker. Okay, we did our best. I will. Do I still play here? I'm not sure. We don't have a bounce spell. Can we erase this? Maybe if we draw an Amoeba here, and then another Stink with Imp, and then another. I will take Underground Sea. Let's see what we have on top. Yeah, this will never be enough to win against Doughty Voidwalker. Okay, we did our best here, but my opponent had a better card. Their ley line was better than mine. So now on the play, it's a different game. I will take ley lines from my deck and re-include one Satoru, one Ichorid, the second Dredge Return, and Breakthrough. And let's submit. If we win this match, it will feel really good because nobody likes to play against Rescaminator these days, right? Okay, this is unkeepable, unfortunately. We have access to 2 enablers. This is a fast start, but with 2 Narcomoebas on our starting hand, we can definitely do better. So let's mulligan. This is the same hand, but with 1 less Narcomoeba. We can shuffle back those Narcomoeba. I think this is a keep. This is not the strongest keep. My opponent kept 7. I will keep this. Let's shuffle that Narcomoeba back and take a basic island. Or we start with Volcanic, because if my opponent had if my opponent has a Wasteland, this is not that bad, because it means that Doughty Voidwalker will. Okay, my opponent had a Force of Negation. It means that my opponent, if my opponent has a Wasteland here, let me speak properly. If my opponent has a Wasteland here, this is not that bad. It is bad, but it's not the worst. They have a Wasteland, and they will use it. All right, I call it. Because now we have at least... this probably means that my opponent don't have Doughty Voidwalker, right? Or if they do, they don't have mana to play it yet. Because the turn 2 Doughty... Oh, they will cast Grief here. They will take a Cabal Therapy, of course. But they could pick the Troll, right? Pick the Troll! Pick the Troll! Yeah, Cabal Therapy goes to the bin. And now we need to just draw another enabler here. We draw another Dredger, alright. So let's play Scouting Turn and pass the turn. So the game just restarted. My opponent maybe can reanimate their Grief and take our Poxwalkers. No, just Polluted Delta. Yeah, after sideboarding, sometimes games can be weird. So now I will not fetch before drawing here, right? Let's just have a natural draw. Otherworldly Gaze is good. I will not wait. I'll do it immediately. Because since I already have a Cabal Therapy, if this Otherworldly Gaze reveals an Narcomoeba, I can cast Cabal Therapy to take my Dredger. Okay, no Narcomoebas, but we have Dredger and Breach from Below. And we can keep Careful Study for next turn. Because if my opponent... I don't like to cast Otherworldly Gaze against Reanimator decks on my own turn. Blue Reanimator decks like Rescaminator. Because they can reanimate my creatures, right? So it is better to cast Otherworldly Gaze. Oh, they don't want Animate Dead. That's interesting. Maybe they are looking for lands. So they can reanimate your creatures. So it is better to cast Otherworldly Gaze on their end step. But, oh, they have Reanimate. All right. You can reanimate my Imp. This seems a lot like our last matchup. We need to have a good draw here. So this means that my opponent don't have Doughty Voidwalker. So this is a win, right? This is a win. Let's be positive. Or we draw our Careful Study that we already know about. And yeah, great. My opponents don't have Daze, and they don't have Orcish Bowmasters, and they probably don't have Force of Will because they let me cast my Careful Study. So we resolve Faithless Looting. Dredge 6 and Dredge 5. And no Narcos yet. Let's discard Grave Troll and Poxwalkers. We already have 3 Poxwalkers. So if my opponent doesn't have Wasteland, next turn we can cast Otherworldly... Oh, they have Wasteland. We can cast... Oh, we could cast Otherworldly Gaze next turn. Now we need an Narcomoeba. So my opponent seems to have a control-ish hand, but without forces and without days. No Narco. This Dredge wasn't too good. We have a Dredge return now, but we need an Narcomoeba to win this game. Come on, come on. My opponent draws. They don't have a good target in their graveyard. They could reanimate or Thassa's Oracle, just to take our combo kill from our graveyard. But instead of this, they just played an island and passed the turn. So let's Dredge 4 and find a Narcomoeba. No Narco. Oh, and we found Satoru. Let's hope for no reanimation spell targeting our Satoru. What do my opponent have? A Troll, alright. So my opponent seems to have a handful of lands. This Troll was probably their draw for the turn. We have everything to win. We already have Okay, my opponent plays Underground Sea. This is what they looked for with draw. So they have 2 unknown cards in their hand. One of them can be a counterspell. Maybe they have an Orcish Bowmasters. Oh, they will animate that their own throw. You see, this is not that bad because we have 16 life now. 15 now. And this is... We have time. We have 2 turns to find our Narcomoeba. So let's dredge 6. Oh, we found our Narcomoebas and the victory is ours, I think. So we already are playing around days. So let's resolve this Cabal Therapy. I hope for no surgical extractions. 2 bridges and 3 Poxwalkers. Yeah, no... My opponent don't have nothing against our graveyard. Let's... I'll name something really weird like Flusterstorm. Yeah, they have a Force of Will. Because they have a single card, right? So my opponent cannot do anything. It is always important to name what you feel that could break your sequence. And if my opponent had 2 cards in their hand, Force of Will would be a name. But with a single card, it isn't. So Satoru enters the battlefield. And now we have blockers to block this draw. We sure do have blockers. Now 2 Narcomoebas. Yeah, the victory is ours. Dredge 4 and Dredge 5 or 4. Yeah, my opponent just concedes. Alright. We won again against the Rescaminator. Some people maybe think that Rescaminator is always the favorite, but not against this version of Blue Dredge. So let's try to keep doing this great sequence of matches on our round number 3. Round 3 against xDingusKhan. And this hand could be a keep if we had a Dredger. With a Dredger this could be a keep, but unfortunately not. That's not the case. Where is my opponent? Okay, my opponent had a mulligan to 6. We also need to mulligan this hand. Oh, okay. This is not the best, right? We need a land. We could try to resolve LED. My opponent is going to 5. So let's go to 5-2. We probably... This is not playable. My opponent kept 5 cards. We need to go to 4. Okay, this is our best hand so far. We keep. Let's put back our Cabal Therapy. From here is harder. Do I keep 2 Cephalic Coliseums or 2 Careful Studies? Or maybe I don't keep even the Dredger, but I think I prefer Cephalic Coliseum instead of my second Careful Study here. I'm not sure what my opponent is playing, but let's keep the best enabler. My opponent plays Ancient Tomb and Chalice on 1. Alright. So we need LED, Liquid Imp. Do I play my land? I will not play anything because I think one of our best shots here is to just... Oh, not against Urza Saga. As I was saying, we can just draw cards until we discard Liquid Imp for the 2 hand size. But I don't think this is reliable enough against Urza Saga. Okay, so we have a Tropical Island. Let's not review our deck. Maybe my opponent don't remember nothing against my nickname, MahfuzVanGogh. Usually playing online, people know that I play dredge decks, right? But we never know, My opponent has Otawara. So is this the new 8-cast deck? Okay, let's just pass a turn again, let's see. I didn't review anything. Maybe my opponent will not search for a graveyard hate with this Urza Saga, right? Maybe they just go for a Mox Opal. And then we win the game. Maybe. Let's see what they will search for. Urza Saga creating the second construct. Okay, Lava Spur Boots. So maybe my opponents don't have a graveyard hate card in their main deck. Or maybe they are just trying to win the game the fastest way possible. This is probably too much already, right? Well, how can we win against this? Only if we draw exactly Lion's Eye Diamond. Because now my opponent will hit us for 15. And we need to draw exactly LED. With LED, we have a chance. So, LED? No. Alright, let's concede here without revealing a single card. I could have played Tropical Island just to confuse my opponent. So, but of course my opponent knows that I play Dredge, right? So I will not have false hopes here. So, do my opponent play with Leyline of the Void? Is this the time that we will test Reverent Silence? Maybe I just include 2 Chain of Vapor instead of 1 Enabler, 1 Satoru. I feel like I need to be fast in this matchup, but having 2 Chain of Vapors is a good catch-all unless my opponent has Chalice on 1. If they do have Leyline of the Void, and if they find Leyline of the Void, we need to find our own Chain of Vapors. This hand is unfortunately a mulligan. Oh, this hand is... Let's see if my opponent will mulligan too. I think I'll keep this. Because it doesn't feel good for my opponent if they have Force of Will. It doesn't feel good to counter Mechanical Therapy. And we have a strong turn 2 with Cephalic Coliseum. This can raise a single Urza Saga. I will keep this just because of Cephalic Coliseum. A turn 2 Cephalic Coliseum is a strong play. Let's hope for no Force of Will, no Fairy Macabre. So Underground Sea and Cabal Therapy targeting myself. Grave Troll. Yeah, we have one. I hope that my opponents don't have Fairy Macabre. That's it. Surgical Extraction. Yeah, that is bad too. But I don't want to lose both cards on this situation. So Fairy Macabre would be the worst card here to see from my opponent. My opponent is thinking a lot here. Alright, we successfully discarded Golgari Grave Troll and we pass the turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. We lost our game 1 against this opponent. Ancient Tomb and Patchwork Automaton. I don't care too much about this card, so we have blockers for days, as long as we can do our thing. Mox Opal, okay. You know that we don't have anything. I already pressed F6 and nothing more. Alright, so far so good. Let's see now. My opponent have something? No? We dredge 6 and now we have 7 cards. We already achieved the threshold. Let's crack Cephalic Coliseum. We have a single Golgari Thug as our dredger. Let's go Thug. Yeah, dredge 4, dredge 6 and we draw a land. So nothing too good here. Next turn we can cast Otherworldly Gaze and have Poxwalkers back. But my opponent kept a slow 7. Let's see what they will play. The Gate Reborn. A Simulacrum Synthesizer. This is a good card. If now my opponent can... If they have 2 or 3 big artifact with affinity, they will have many creatures. But against our deck, this is not that bad. I already have 2 bridges in my 2 bridges in my graveyard. So... Okay, before this turn, I was going to say this thing. This blue-black artifact deck is one of the hottest decks in town, right? Lately. Every content creator tried to play it because it won a challenge. It is a really good deck. It has some flashy cards. It is good. But against our deck, it's not that bad. Okay, so let's fetch for a Volcanic Island here. We already have an Arcomoeba. Let's do our thing. If we hit Satoru, we'll have the win here. Of course, I have only a single Satoru now. But oh, we have another Poxwalkers. That's good. And 2 Dredgers. So now we need zombies. We have 2 Cabal Therapies. Let's see what my opponent is hiding. What to name here? Metallic Rebuke, maybe? Or maybe Force of Will? They don't have Force of Will. Metallic Rebuke, because they have exactly what they need to cast through Metallic Rebuke. Just another Mox Opal, alright. Do I cast this Dredge Return just to put a large Golgari Grave Troll in play and make more zombies? Maybe this is good because I don't know if my opponent has a way to deal with my bridges. I have only 1 Satoru, right? Yeah, I have 1 Satoru in the sideboard. It will be hard to find my Satoru. Maybe I can cast Faithless Looting next turn. So I don't need Satoru to win. I need blockers. So let's take my opponent's Mox Opal first. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers. Maybe I can wait 1 more turn. This is close. This is really close. So Mox Opal. This is really close here. Because my opponent has 5 creatures, I have 5 blockers. Do I wait 1 more turn? Yeah. Let's wait 1 more turn because I think this is a win for us. Only if my opponent plays something like Dismember, they will attack with everyone, alright? We can just block. I'm not sure if I block every creature here. I don't want to lose my bridges, so let's block the bigger creatures. We can... Do I block... Yeah, let's block everyone but Frogmite, because we will have many zombies. This Narcomoeba will give us 2 more zombies now. We just need to dodge. Okay, they have only other creature, so maybe we win this turn. We will resolve this Faithless Looting. So dredge 6, another dredge return. This is good. Narcomoeba is good. Let's cast this Faithless Looting. Paying 3 mana. Dredge 6. Loam, 2 Narcos are good. And dredge, okay, no Satoru. No Thassa, Oracle. So I think we will win this game with the combo, but my opponent can have something weird like a Chalice on 4. And we never cast Dredge Return. So Let's think here. They have 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I think I will pass. Let's high roll this, because if my opponent draws a counterspell, next turn they will need to just a Mox Up. Alright, so we'll have the win. We definitely have the win next turn. We definitely have the win. So let's just block here to make more zombies. Oh, and maybe I have the win with zombies, because my opponent already is low on life. Maybe I have the win with zombies. Maybe this is alright. This is I don't even need to win with my combo. Let's see. Yeah, let's change that. Let's put Poxwalkers in front of the bigger creatures. Because now I will have lethal with zombies. Yeah. As I was saying before those last turns, this is not... I know we lost. Let's order this. I know we lost our first game, but this is an aggro matchup. And my opponent had no Urza Saga to go after I'm not sure, Grafdigger's Cage or something like that, or Soul Guide Lantern. So yeah, we have lethal here, more than lethal. We can win through the combo or through the zombies. So let's just... okay, we can dredge, why not? We found Satoru, the other Poxwalkers, but we have the win here in a very old-fashioned way. So let's deal 24 damage to our opponent. Who is the aggro deck now? Alright. So yeah, but let's not celebrate yet, because now we had the second game, but now my opponent will be on the play. Do we do something different in our sideboard? We didn't see any Leyline of the Void. Oh, one useful thing to notice is that Reverent Silence can destroy Urza Saga, right? Because it's every enchantment. It's a tranquility effect. But we didn't see anything. I think we can just submit back. Yeah. Oh, this is awful. 3 therapies, 2 narcomoebas, 1 dredger. Let's mulligan. Okay. This is similar to our last plan, but now we have a breakthrough. And we have something to deal with a possible Leyline of the Void here. We have Chain of Vapor. This is not perfect, this is not that fast, but this is a keep. Chain of Vapor unfortunately cannot deal with Urza Saga. So maybe with Reverent Silence, instead of Chain of Vapor, we should have a Stern Dismissal instead. Okay, my opponent starts with a Seat of the Synod and Lotus Petal. No Chalice, no Chalice. Even if they do have a Chalice of the Void and nothing more, we can cast a turn 2 Breakthrough and crack a turn 3 Cephalic Coliseum. They will Chalice on 1, okay. My opponent had a mulligan to 6, so they kept this hand, probably because of Chalice. And now we will not wait to discard. I think we will play lands here. We could wait 2 turns to discard and then resolve Breakthrough on turn 4, but it will be faster this way. Okay, my opponent has a Darksteel, Citadel, and a Patchwork Automaton, that's fine. And 2 other unknown cards. Let's fetch at the end of the turn, just to thin the deck, because I don't want... and I think Underground Sea is better, because we will never resolve Faithless Looting, right? So let's play Cephalic Coliseum here. It will deal 1 damage to us, but if one of the last cards is another Cephalic Coliseum, if we draw a 3rd Cephalic Coliseum, this is best. Okay, LED. So let's discard LED here. I think the 3rd land is better because we can cast Otherworldly Gaze to trigger Poxwalkers if we need to. LED can also do the same, but only once. Now we pass the turn. My opponent has what? 3 cards. We can win the game next turn. My opponent needs to do something here. This Chalice on 1 is not enough to win the game, because we had the Breakthrough and Cephalic Coliseum. It's important to diversify your enablers, right? So LED costs 0, Breakthrough can be cast with 2 or more mana. So my opponent will attack me dealing a single damage. What do they have? Maybe they have Metallic Rebuke now. So let's dredge 6. We have an Narcomoeba. I have 2 Cabal Therapies here. Oh, this match is intense. My opponent is thinking, do they have something? Sometimes the opponent has nothing to do, but they just are playing online, or sometimes your opponent is just away from keyboard. And playing online, sometimes your opponent is just away from keyboard. And you are not sure if they are thinking or not. Sometimes they just go to the bathroom or grab something to eat. You never know. So, okay, Narcomoeba enters the battlefield. My opponent has nothing. I will cast... Oh, I should have cast this... Okay, maybe this is actually good, because I'll test my opponent once more. Okay, they do have Harry Macabre. I knew it. I knew it. They should have something. Okay, so it was probably better to cast this Cabal Therapy into Chalice of the Void, because now I can grab my third land here, thing in the deck. Volcanic. I should probably have the Tropical Island there, but well, okay, it will not make a difference, I think. So Rift Throw, Dredge 6, Dredge 12, Dredge 18, and we have another Narcomoeba. Do we have the win? Satoru, Dredge Return. How many Poxwalkers? 1, 2 Poxwalkers. Okay, let's grab those Poxwalkers here before my opponent I can have a second Fairy Macabre. And next turn I can even no, I don't have a Golgari Thug. I was going to say that I could even Dredge 4 to have a third creature to cast Dredge Return, but we still don't have a Golgari Thug. Okay, so my opponent just cycles their companion, plays a third land. Will they attack for 1? They will not attack. Maybe they have Metallic Rebuke. Okay, Dredge 6. Narcomoeba is good, is our third creature. Unfortunately, my Cabal Therapy will never resolve, so I cannot play around Rebuke here. Let's attack first. I don't think my opponent will block, right? If they do block, I can just castle the Legacy to have my Poxwalkers back immediately. No tricks? Okay, no tricks. So now I can have my Poxwalkers back, and I can cast Dredge Return right now. This Water Legacy will not resolve because of Chalice, but I have Poxwalkers back. And we cast Dredge Return, targeting Satoru. Let's see if this will resolve. My opponent has 2 unknown cards. I'll have 2 Poxwalkers coming back. This is so intense because I feel like they have something. They can have another Fairy Macabre, they can save, maybe they save this Fairy Macabre for my Dredge Return target, I don't know. Since I don't have other bridges yet. No? Okay, Satoru triggers. And we Dredge 6. We found our last bridge. This Narcomoeba will trigger Satoru. And now we Dredge 6 again. And now I can cast Cabal Therapy just to trigger Satoru a single time. Yeah, I will just draw a card here. I cannot see what my opponent has. And this is the thing, if my opponent... Let's try to do our thing, but if my opponent has a counter to this Dredge Return, we don't win the game. My opponents still are sitting on 17 life. So if my opponent has a counter spell, we need to deal with my opponent with the old-fashioned way. Dredge Return targeting Thassa's Oracle. We will have Devotion 4. Devotion to blue 4. But oh, Satoru triggers. Maybe I should have done this sacrificing zombies instead. Because if my opponent... Oh, okay, let's hope for no Force of Will. Alright. So, we cannot win anymore, can we? Let's think a little bit. We don't have lethal on 2 turns. 6. We cannot attack this turn. 6, 8, 10, 13. We not have lethal. I can cast a Thug next turn to put Thug back on top. Yeah, I have a Cabal Therapy. I sacrifice Thug. I put Thug back on top, so I have 2 turns. Yeah, so yeah, we still can win this. Oh. Yeah, but we had no choice, right? Because if I sacrifice zombies here, I will not have lethal the same way. So maybe this was... After playing this, I will rewatch to see if I could have done something differently. But what we should... Okay, let's pass it on. I don't think if we... Okay, oh, my opponent has a blocker. So let's see. We will draw a land. I think we attacked, right? I'm not sure if we should do this before... Okay, my opponent will block my Poxwalkers. I have... Okay, I found a line. For a moment, I thought that we couldn't win, but I found a line. It is beautiful. It is brilliant. All right, let's calculate here. I think we have the win this turn. Because we have this basic island, I can play Golgari Thug from my hand. Because my opponent blocked with Poxwalkers. So now this Poxwalkers will trigger. Yeah, let's think for a moment. My opponent has 0 cards in their hand. Yeah, this needs to work. I never played this line before. This is a first. This is brilliant. Okay, let's Cabal Therapy targeting anyone. This Golgari Thug will trigger Poxwalkers. But I will order those triggers so I can put Thassa's Oracle on top. And then I will draw Thassa's Oracle. With Satoru's trigger, I have 0 cards in my deck. I play Basic Island from my hand. And I play Thassa's Oracle for the win. Whoa, man. Oh, man. This was so intense. This was so intense. This is definitely one of my most intense matches from my entire life. Alright, we are on the play on our 4th round. This hand is more or less good, but I think we can do better on the play. This could be a keep. I would probably keep this on the draw, but being on the play, my opponent. Okay, I will mulligan this, trying to. Okay, this is so much better. As I was saying, being on the play, we can mulligan until find a similar or better hand than that. Our deck mulligans too well. So, do I keep Satoru trying to hit turn 1 win? Or Cabal Therapy? Let's keep Satoru trying to hit a turn 1 win here. Let's see if we have this luck. So IDD. Okay, it resolved immediately. And then we'll take a Volcanic Island here. Casting Faithless Looting. In response, we discard our hand. 3 extra red mana. So Dredge 5, Dredge 6. And we have an Amoeba, Cabal Therapy, Poxwalkers. We still need more. And we will have this Poxwalkers back, of course. And then we Dredge 6 and Dredge 6 again. Okay, now we have the win. Alright. We have even our second Satoru is there. So let's see what my opponent is playing. My opponent let me resolve Dark Ritual maybe? Dark Ritual is something... Okay, lands. Dark Ritual is something that when opponents just let me play like this, Dark Ritual, I think this is a good choice because my opponent can have a combo kill on turn 1 with Dark Ritual. Let's see if we have the win. So Narcomoeba enters the battlefield. My opponent has a way of Reclaimer and other stuff, lands stuff. So Dredge 6. And now I'll cast Cabal Therapy targeting them, sacrificing Poxwalkers. Now I have a breach. Of course I will name... we have another trigger because we have a Poxwalkers. And Exploration here. Because Average Reclaimer is too slow, and Exploration is something that could make my opponent win. But we have our other Cabal Therapies, so now let's see if I will hit what I need to win this turn. Dredge. I almost click on Dredge on Dredge 3. Alright, okay, we have the win. We have another Cabal Therapy and on our last Dredge return. So Sphere of Resistance. Now we can win. Let's guess my last Cabal Therapy here. Poxwalkers enters the battlefield again. Poxwalkers is a beautiful card, right? Everyone should play Poxwalkers to understand how great it is. I don't need this Narcomoeba, this is... okay, Balls of Fire. I don't need to take anything else from my opponent's hand. Let's just win the game. Poxwalkers' interaction with Cabal Therapy is something amazing. I don't play Commander, but is this already being playing Commander? I'm not sure if this is good enough to see playing Commander, but this interaction is just too good. Alright, so we won our first game. So this is lands. Against lands, I want my 4 Leyline of Sanctity. I also want Ikorid. And we need to take a little bit of everything, right? So, 1 Satoru, 1 Study. I'm taking a Poxwalkers for an Ikorid. I think this is good. And Ikorid is especially good against lands in moments when your opponent have something like Tabernacle. 2 Careful Studies maybe. I think Otherworldly Gaze is a good card to keep, because sometimes we will mulligan until 5 to find a Leyline of Sanctity, and Otherworldly Gaze can rebuild faster than a Careful Study. I need to take 1 extra card from my deck. Okay, let's skip a single Otherworldly Gaze. I'm not sure if this is correct, but since I'm playing LED, maybe Breakthrough is better. But maybe I should... yeah, this is something that I need to understand better. This is a mulligan, but only because we are trying to find a Leyline of Sanctity. This hand is really good. I'll keep this hand, because this can be a turn 1. But if my opponent starts with something like Forest Pass, this hand is not that good. Let's hope for just Silver Library, something like that. So Mox Diamond and a Surveil land. Oh, my opponent will pass a turn here, right? If they do, yeah. Now I'm living in fear. Breakthrough is too good. Can I slow roll this hand just playing Faithless Looting? They obviously have crop rotation, right? They kept 7 cards. Okay, those are good cards. We have Cephalic Coliseum for next turn. So I will discard 2 not so good cards in case my opponent has something. They have Urza Saga. Okay, now I don't have a choice anymore. I need to play fast. Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, I need to win this turn or I will lose. They are still holding something. I will Dredge 5. They let it go. Let's just crack Cephalic Coliseum here. Not revealing that I have Breakthrough and LED. I think so. Let's see. Cracking Coliseum. My opponent, yeah, my opponent is definitely holding something, because on game 1 Nakomiba. Oh, nothing. We find 0 good cards here. I was expecting at least one Nakomiba, one Poxwalkers, something like that to force my opponent's hand. And now we need to... Am I playing too defensively here? Now we don't have a choice. We need to try to win this turn. I cannot pass the turn here, right? My opponent will definitely go for a Bujukabog immediately. But let's hope that this wasn't a good start for my opponent and they don't have crop rotation. They don't have anything. Oh, they do have. They do have a crop rotation. This is not the right timing to cast this crop rotation, but it will be good anyways. So yeah, we found nothing. Yeah, being on the play is really better. Let's sit here to save some time, and let's go to our game 3. We kept a great hand, but against the crop rotation, and we even tried to force my opponent's hand, but we found nothing. Otherworldly Gaze on the play. Maybe on the play I don't want Otherworldly Gaze compared to other cards. Maybe Careful Study is just better. I'm not sure. Let's just submit. Yes, I would like to play first, please. Oh, this hand is... We have a ley line, but the hand is not good. I will not keep that. That's mulligan. Oh, this hand. If my opponent has only... I think I'll keep this. But this is so scary. Because if my opponent has something like Elvish Reclaimer, I can keep this. But if they have something like Crop Rotation, I could not keep this. Okay, I think I'll keep this. Do I keep this? I think... I clicked on mulligan instead of... Alright, now I need to mulligan. Okay. Guys, it happens with all of us, right? Maybe this is for the best. Let's hope that this is for the best. Let's just hope. I misclicked. I was taking the mouse to click on keep and then I misclicked clicking on mulligan. Let's just hope here. Oh, okay. Okay, we have a Line of Sanctity. We need to slow dredge here and try to win. But, okay, my opponent has Urza Saga. So I need to win in 2 turns. This is what my opponent kept. So we had the win with that hand that I misclicked. We'll have a turn 2 win if this is all what my opponent has. Unless they have something extra like Very Macabre Surgical Extraction, they could have. Now we have an Inquiry that we cannot route back. My opponent has an Exploration, Ancient Tomb. I think I will have a natural draw here. No, I can still win the game if I dredge here. If I found exactly Narcomoeba or something else. But yeah, we draw a Scouting turn. Let's have another basic and cast this Otherworldly Gaze. Yeah, we have Narcomoeba. We hit Narcomoeba, but this is not good enough to win the game. Unless, for some weird reason, my opponent don't have Soul-Guide Lantern in their deck, right? So let's mill this. So now I have an Narcomoeba. It enters the battlefield. My opponents don't have Crop Rotation. Let's see what they do have in their hand. I still name Crop Rotation, but Crop Rotation. Elvish Reclaimer and a Tabernacle. Oh, I see. My opponent kept Tabernacle and Elvish Reclaimer and Urza Saga. And since I had Leyline of Sanctity, they went for Urza Saga instead of Elvish Reclaimer. Because Urza Saga can find a Graveyard Hate. Okay, guys, this is on me. I could have won this game if my opponent had just Elvish Reclaimer on turn 1. I would have cast Breakthrough on turn 2, and this would be a win. Yeah, Soul-Guide Lantern. If they don't crack this immediately, I will not play it anymore. There's no point. Unless they crack Soul-Guide Lantern immediately, and I draw Careful Study or something like that. Back from the Loam. Now they can replay Urza Saga. And Loam plus Elvish Reclaimer should be a Bujukabog lock. But we have Leyline of Sanctity, but this will not be good enough. Yeah, that hand could have won this game. Our opponent is keeping Soul-Guide Lantern open for a little bit more time. Now they will probably crack it with 2 Narcomoebas, yeah. This is what I was trying to do on the other game, on the first game. We just pass a turn here. Okay, maybe I just wait one more turn to see. This is kind of frustrating, but we don't need to think too much about this. Things like this happen. Okay, this is the nail of the coffin. We can consider here against an Elvish Reclaimer, replayed Urza Saga, Exploration in Sphere. We cannot do anything else. Okay, Careful Study on top, and then we find... No? Alright, let's consider. We could find a third land, LED, and Faithless Looting. And then we maybe could have won this game. But yeah. Let's go to our last match. Okay, final round this evening. And this is unfortunately a mulligan. My opponent is playing an Yorion deck. This hand is decent. Lands, 2 enablers, a dredger. We are on the play. I'll put Cabal Therapy or Satoru. Let's try to high roll this again. Let's keep Satoru. I think Satoru is so good if we reanimate Satoru soon in the game. This can be our turn one win or turn 2 win. So Volcanic Island and Careful Study. 2 lands. Lands are good. We have 2 Cephalic Coliseums. Alright. Let's see if my opponent is playing Death and Taxes or a control variant. Okay, this is... I'm not sure. Is this Death and Taxes with the Black Splash for Orcish Bowmasters and Grief? This can even be that other sweet deck that some players are playing right now with... okay, we don't have Threshold yet, so let's just play Scouting Time. That scam deck with Ephemerate and yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if Surveil lands are seen play in Death and Taxes builds. I need to search for the most recent lists. Careful Study resolves, Dredge 6 and Dredge 4. We discard 2 Dredgers. Now we have 3 Narcomoebas, 1 single bridge, 3 Cabal Therapies, and a Poxwalkers. So Narcomoebas are entering the battlefield. My opponent can have something like Solitude. So this first Cabal Therapy, let's see if I will name Solitude here. Let's see how my opponent responds. Okay, bridges triggering. I will name Solitude, but yeah, this is... Okay, this seems like a Death and Taxes build. Mother of Runes, Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, so let's take some extra cards from my opponent's hand. Sacrificing Poxwalkers again. Now I have some extra zombies. Let's take Orcish Bowmasters, because they can deal with my bridges at instant speed. Let's clean the non-cards. And now my Let's Cabal Therapy will take Mother of Runes or Swords or Stoneforge. We'll have Cephalic Coliseum next turn, so probably none of those cards are good enough to win this game against me, right? It feels weird to use all of our Cabal Therapies too soon in the game. Okay, my opponent will go for Mother and Swords of Plowshares, because Cabal Therapy is needed to win the game through the combo. So that's why I didn't took Swords of Plowshares from my opponent's hand. We have many creatures. So now my opponent will not block. I'm sure about this, so let's just attack. Maybe they will just cast Swords of Plowshares targeting Poxwalkers. Yeah, this is their play. My opponent is considering blocking? No. Alright. And now we will crack Cephalic Coliseum and probably win the game right now. Because sometimes you'll not just chain Narcomoebas when you reanimate Satoru, right? We already have 2 Narcomoebas. So Cabal Therapy is needed to put your Poxwalkers into play. So now, yeah, let's win the game. Dredge return, targeting Satoru. Oh, I didn't check my opponent's hand, but let's order this to put bridges in front of Poxwalkers. Yeah, my opponent concedes, because my opponent could have Solitude in their hand. And that's why I was ordering the triggers here to put Poxwalkers in front of bridges. So now my opponent probably have Leyline of the Void, so maybe finally I will test Reverent Silence and all of those stuff here. Chain of Vapor is good against Death and Taxes. In Ichorid, of course, we need extra threats. I didn't include Hogak a single time this league. I'm not sure if Hogak is needed with this deck. Probably with 3 Poxwalkers, 3 or 4 Poxwalkers, Hogak is just trying to occupy the same place that Poxwalkers are already using as a threat. Maybe next league I will not even include Hogak in the deck, maybe. Oh, you know what I'm seeing just now? I'm using 4 Scouting Turn. I shouldn't. I should have more variety of fetch lands here. So a Pithy Needle will not... Let's take a Careful Study, Order of the Gaze, a little bit of everything, right? So a single Pithy Needle will not deal with all of our fetch lands at once. I need to take 3 more cards from the deck. Yeah, we have a Careful Study, one of the Gaze, Loam, or Thug. Let's take Thug. My opponent is a Wasteland deck, so maybe Loam has some utility here. And I will already... Let's take a Breakthrough, and I think I'll take a Poxwalkers. Because if my opponent go for a Leyline of the Void, I already want to have Forest to cast Reverent Silence, so maybe keeping a Loam is the best. Alright, we have 2 Chain of Vapors for possible Leyline of the Void, but nothing else. Can we keep this solely on Chain of Vapors on the draw. My opponent is already mulligan. Maybe I keep this. This is risky because we'll need to draw something. But double Chain of Vapors is really good against this deck. Do I keep this? I think I'll... yeah. Okay, let's try to be lucky here. We need to... Okay, my opponent had just one mulligan. They kept 6 cards and a swamp. And a Thoughtseize, okay? You could take my Stink with Imp. What do you think? No, just a Chain of Vapor, alright. Yeah, against a Thoughtseize, maybe it was better to just not mulligan, right? Cabal Therapy is probably one of our best draws here. So now we can take our Underground Sea and cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves. We have 2 Stink with Imps. Stink with Imp. Our opponent knows that we have a second Chain of Vapor. So if they have something like Priest, we can just bounce Priest. My opponent plays Plains and passes. So this is an obvious Priest or Orcish Bowmasters. We will dredge 5. We found an Arcomoeba. So if this is a Containment Priest, this is the time. Yeah? Do I fight for it? Yeah, because I have a Cabal Therapy in my graveyard. So yeah, let's fight for it. Let's bounce a Priest. So this Arcomoeba can enter the battlefield. And now I'll play my second land. And let's take that Priest and see what my opponent have besides that. Containment Priest. Just a Recruiter and a Wasteland. Okay, so my opponent kept 6 card hand with Thoughtseize and Priest. Okay, they opted to cast Recruiter instead of Wasteland me. What this Recruiter will find? If this is a Fairy Macabre, we will need to draw something. Oh, Canoptech. This card is so scary. We need another Cabal Therapy ASAP. Do I draw here? No. Let's count our lands. My opponent has the mana, so I think I will fetch to Finn here. And let's dredge. Okay, we have Otherworldly Gaze. We still have chances here. Alright. We want Careful Study for next turn. After my opponent exile my graveyard. Let's keep Dredge Return, because we will need this Dredge Return at some point. But we don't need our Stink with Imp. And pass. Okay, after a Thoughtseize. After a Containment Priest. After a Canoptech. Can we win this game? Let's see if this is possible. So my opponent's Canoptech will exile my graveyard. They have a Flying Army and attack me, dealing 1 damage with Recruiter. Why not? So this Careful Study will be cast with our Underground Sea mana. Now we have Stink with Imp again. Unfortunately, we didn't hit other enablers here. Okay, my opponent will finally Wasteland me. No. Oh, they opt. Okay, my opponent is dealing with fire here. Is playing with fire. This Lion Sash can exile 1 Dredger if they want to. They attack me. I don't think I will even dredge now. I think I just need to draw and get lucky. Yeah? Okay, we couldn't. Okay, this was too much. After all of those great cards from my opponent's deck, we resign. Now what? This will be game 3 on the play. We didn't see Ley Lines. Do I still keep Reverent Silence? I think I will change Otherworldly Gaze for Breakthrough. And that's it. Just to be faster, because now that I know that my opponent has answers that cost 4 mana, like an Optech, we just need to be faster than that, right? So let's see what we have in our starting hand. Oh, we have Reverent Silence, but no lands. This is a mulligan, unfortunately. Oh, have Reverent Silence. No green mana, but this is definitely a keep. Do I keep Reverent Silence? Do I keep it? My opponent is having their first mulligan to 6. Okay, I want Volcanic Cephalic, Breakthrough, Faithless Looting, and Grave Trolls. So now it's just if I want to live in fear, so I will keep Reverent Silence, or I want to go for it without fear, and then I'll put Careful Study. Let's keep Reverent Silence. And this is because we already have 3 enablers, Looting, Breakthrough, and Coliseum. My opponent is going to 5, and I think we will probably not need that Careful Study to win this game. And my opponent had Leyline of the Void. Alright, so please deck, let's go find our forest. We did it. We need to discard 2 cards, unfortunately. I need to discard both Grave Trolls, right? Oh, my land was on top. Yeah, I discard both Grave Trolls, and then next turn I play Clouding Tarn, Reverent Silence, Breakthrough with X equals to 1. I can... Yeah, maybe this is weird, but I think because we can always just draw more dredgers, but if we don't draw more dredgers, we will just lose the game. So let's keep Golgar Grave Troll. I think this is better. My opponent had a plateau and nothing else. Maybe they have Swords to Plowshares. Unfortunately, we had Narcomoeba as our draw for the turn. I will not play around any Wastelands this game. Let's see Reverent Silence in action. This is the moment. This is the moment of truth. And my opponent cannot counter green. And my opponent has a plateau, now that I'm thinking about it. My opponent has a splash to red. Maybe for Magus of the Moon. Okay, let's resolve Breakthrough with X equals to 1. My opponent had a small pause, saying Reverent Silence there. Alright, and we found our second Breakthrough. I'll not keep Chain of Vapor, of course. If my opponent has a Containment Priest, they have a Containment Priest. Alright, so I cannot play around anything else. Okay, my opponent don't have anything else. Oh, they are going to the end step. Alright, so Dredge 6. Now's the time. Do my opponent have something else? No, they don't. So how we won with Reverent Silence. I can't believe it. And this is only because Reverent Silence is a free spell. We could cast Breakthrough. Of course, a Chain of Vapor would, in this... Okay, let's dredge. Dredge 5, Dredge 5. Thinking about it, a Chain of Vapor would probably do the same thing on that spot. But Reverent Silence is the cooler way, right? We did a thing. Let's discard our hand and have our 2 free Narcomoebas. We did a thing on our last game from this league. Now I have 3 Narcomoebas. Can we win the game? We have... Let's cast Cabal Therapy first, just to see what my opponent is hiding. Probably Swords to Plowshares here. And we have an extra therapy. Solitude or Swords to Plowshares? Oh, they have Solitude. They exiled a Stoneforge Mystic with Solitude. So now, Swords to Plowshares. Oh, they have cannot tech, Thoughtseize, and the Battle of Bywater. Speaking on... Let's reanimate our Satoru and win the game. Speaking on greedy mana base. This is already a greedy mana base for an Yorion deck, right? My opponent cannot cast Thoughtseize because they have a plateau. So now we'll cast Cabal Therapy. We have 2 Cabal Therapies, and this Satoru will trigger twice. We'll dredge 6, of course. No Narcomoebas. Oh, we don't have Narcomoeba anymore. Alright, so... doesn't matter. The Battle of Bywater. And let's take 1 extra card from my opponent. Dredge 5. Okay, we have our 2 bridges. So now we can win. An attack. This is turn 3. After a Leyline of the Void on turn 0. Oh, we don't have Dredge Return? Oh, we need to find Dredge Return. We don't have Dredge Return yet. So we need to dredge 4 here. And we have exactly what we need to win the game. Okay, my opponent just concedes. Alright. This was a great league. It was a 4-1 league. This could have been a 5-0. Oh, that game against Lance. That misclicked. That misclick. Alright, so yeah, all of our matches were 2-1. We ended with a 4-1 result. This was pretty solid. Let's talk a little bit about the deck. And let's see if this test with Reverent Silence was successful or not. Okay guys, let's talk about our deck after this successful league. This was the first league for me with this configuration. Let's talk first about Life from the Loam as a single card, as a single Loam in our 60 main deck cards. We did have some moments with Loam in this league. We had some moments that we just have no ways to put a Dredger into our graveyard because my opponent had something. And then we just had a Loam in our hand and start dredging as a card that we could cast without targeting anything. We had targets in our graveyard, and we, after casting Loam, we had more and more lands. This was really good against a Wasteland deck. So we actually had a moment when the game was grindy, and we couldn't have other ways to put dredgers into our graveyard. That means that this is the way to go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if 1 Loam should be enough if this is our shot. And I don't think we have this space to have more than a single tropical island here. We definitely don't want forests, too many forests here, because we need Faithless Looting and we need at least 1 Underground Sea. Maybe if we just don't have looting anymore, maybe in the future if we go back to a blue shell with Brainstorm and then including a Loam is better. Maybe we could include 2 Life from the Loam in the older blue Dredge shell without Faithless Looting in Lions and Diamond. Maybe I could test Life from the Loam in that list because it's easier to play with. Yeah, sometimes you don't have something, especially because Brainstorm is not an enabler when we start playing with it, right? So maybe you cast Brainstorm on turn 1 and then on turn 2 cast a Life from the Loam, taking 2 lands from your graveyard, or maybe a single land, and doing all of this, holding days and Force of Will. So maybe this is better. In a slowest build to include Life from the Loam. This is something interesting to think for the future. What about the rest of our deck? The rest of our deck was the same shell, so this was great. We never missed the third Volcanic Island in this league, at least. And Reverent Silence had its moment in our last game. It was kind of surprisingly good. In that specific situation, we didn't need Reverent Silence, especially because we didn't have green mana in our starting hand, so we need to wait one more turn to do the thing anyways. So it could be just a Chain of Vapor, and next turn we will do our thing. But yeah, maybe there is something there for the future. Talking about this 75 cards, I don't think Reverent Silence is good enough, but I'll play a challenge soon. Maybe I can keep testing these Reverent Silences here. Maybe with if I want to keep Reverent Silence yet, I think we need at least one extra fetch land, because this was the greediest, right? Just 4 fetch lands and a single tropical island. So maybe we don't need the other basic island. Maybe we can try to reconfigure this with a single basic island, since we have Loam, maybe a second Loam, and 5 fetch lands. Yeah, this is something that I will think about. So what did you think? I hope you enjoyed this league with me. It was super a grindy league, right? All of our matches had 3 games. So now let's edit this monster and upload on YouTube. Click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment below if you enjoyed this league, and if you have any comments ready, just to push our algorithm here. We are having more and more followers on this channel. This channel is getting bigger. See you soon. Keep dredging. Bye.